Hello, my lovelies. It's always such a delight to have you guys return and watch my video. It's Essie Talks, your beautiful host. Today, I have something very special for you, and I can't wait for you to see it. All right, let's go. When you're an expecting mom during your pregnancy journey, or even a new mom, sometimes you hear stories about breastfeeding, some good, some bad, some really scary and ugly. That makes you wonder if breastfeeding is, right for you, if you're cut out for breastfeeding. I know, my darling mommies, I have been there, so relax. I've put together a few breastfeeding myths and facts to help you better navigate your breastfeeding journey as a new mom, or even while you're pregnant, expecting your baby. And I would love to give you insights on my breastfeeding journey as a first-time mom. Are you ready? All right, let's go. So my experience, what was it like for me? It was beautiful. I loved it. But it was not always like that. For the very first few days, I remember highlighting in my previous video what it was like for me for the first few days. In the first few days, I was really not getting it, to be very honest. I had no idea that this is something that needed practice. You need to give yourself time. I just thought it was something that would come to me. Like, I didn't need to bother myself. Like, it's natural now. It's breastfeeding. What's there? Carry your baby, put your baby here, put the breast in the baby's mouth. It wasn't like that, because I really struggled. At first, I wasn't even able to lactate. I mentioned in the last video that it took me about 2 days, 2 days plus, before I was lactating properly, before my baby was able to get some breast milk from me, right? So I wasn't lactating, and then when I eventually started, it's not like it was a fountain. No, it took some time, and I started struggling with positioning my little one. It was really hard for me that I had cracked nipples, and it was so painful. Most times, I remember vividly crying when I had to breastfeed because I had cracked nipples, and I didn't have a choice. My nurses would tell me, you have to breastfeed through the pain. Your baby's mouth will heal the nipple. I'm like, what? And if you are a new mom or an experienced mom, you know what I'm talking about. It's like literally putting salt in injury. It was painful, it was hard, and it made me really feel so bad, because I really wanted to keep breastfeeding her every time hourly, like they'll tell you, or maybe every 2 hours. But every time I needed to breastfeed, I would be scared, legit scared, because I knew the pain I was going to go through. But that was just the first few days. But after a while, when I eventually got, I understood my baby in my body and how to position my little one correctly, it became easy as a breeze. It became smooth, right? So I went from not understanding what it was like, how to position, and not being able to lactate right, to giving myself time and understanding myself and my little one. We had to just get our breathing, and when we got it, we were flying. It was smooth. It became one of the best things for me. I would just love staring at my little one. She would stare at me back, and it was like looking into each other's souls and understanding, like, hey, I'm your mom and I love you, right? Do you guys get what I'm talking about? I'm sure you do. Okay, guys, so before I begin to talk about the myth and actually tell you guys the fact, I would love to put it out there that I am not a consultant, a lactation consultant, a medical practitioner, or a nurse. Okay, this information is purely from research. Is what I've gathered from research that I'm going to be telling you guys, and of course highlights of my own experience as a first-time mom. So take notes, guys. Number one myth that we're going to be looking at today is breastfeeding is very easy. Well, I beg to differ, and I'll tell you guys why. Now, here is the fact. Babies are born with a natural instinct to look for their mother's breast upon delivery. From my experience, the first 5 minutes after I had my baby, I don't even think it was up to 5 minutes, right? The midwife brought the baby to my chest, and in that very moment, she placed my breast in my baby's mouth. And I was shocked. It was like watching a documentary, but it was happening to me live. My baby immediately put her mouth. She was able to locate it, right? Take note that newborns can't see when you give birth, right? So I'm just talking about the first 5 minutes after she was cleaned. So yes, babies have the natural instinct to locate their mother's breast. But however, here is the main truth that people need to know. It's an eye-opener that breastfeeding needs practice. Yes, it's like doing practical work. So Even what I'm telling you now, this is the theory part. I'm telling you something. It's different from practicing it yourself. When you eventually, like when I watched videos, right? I even before I had my baby, while I was expecting, it was separate from when I had to experience it myself. That's why I'm here. I'm able to share my experience with you. So even this video you're watching is a theory, but when you eventually practice it yourself, you would understand what I'm talking about. If you're a new mom, an experienced mom, I know you know what I'm talking about, right? That breastfeeding needs practice and you need positioning, the right positioning. That's something people don't know. They think, oh, it's just to hold your baby, cradle your baby, and take the breast, put it in the baby's mouth. No, my darlings. That's not how it's done. You need positioning, correct positioning. And this is what one of my nurse friends told me. You need correct positioning so the baby can latch properly, and then, of course, lactation will just come easily. Because I think somebody also said at the time that if you're not even, your baby's not latched properly, to even make lactation hard for you. You know, you need proper practice and positioning. So both the mom and the baby actually needs practice because you're meeting each other for the first time, right? So you need to try and understand each other. You know, sometimes the baby might complain if their mouth is not properly latched to the breast, and they might make sound like they are complaining, and you are wondering, why is this baby not sucking now? Why is this baby not taking my breast? No, my darling mom, your baby is not rejecting your breast, okay? It's probably because they are not positioned properly. So mothers need time. Yes, breastfeeding is also time sensitive. It comes naturally for babies to locate the breast, but mothers need support. It's very time sensitive, okay? They need the correct positioning and practice. And trust me, my dear mom, you will get better. Just hang in there, okay? On to myth number 2. You shouldn't breastfeed as a mom if you're sick. I legit understand this particular one because I also had the same worry while I was pregnant at the time, because I'm like, okay, what if you transfer your sickness to your baby? It's a legit question that people should ask, but it's actually not true. From research, it says that the very first milk that comes from the mother's breast, which is also called colostrum, is rich in antibodies that helps boost your little one's immunity, right? So while your little one's immune system is still developing, you have colostrum. That's why it's so key and very important that as a new mom or as a mom, you must breastfeed your baby with that colostrum, that milk. And if for some reason you are unable to do that, you can always express your breast milk, right? For mothers that are unable to lactate for the first few days, you can express that breast milk. It might not be much, it might just be little that come out, but it's so important for your baby's immune system. So it's okay, perfectly okay, to breastfeed your baby as a mom while you're sick. You won't pass on your sickness, don't worry. The third one is, all mothers are very happy and so blissful and cheery in the days after giving birth. Oh, if only they knew. Now, this is not entirely true. In as much as new moms or even experienced moms, you are happy to welcome your little one, but it's not always true that we're always so happy and cheerful and blissful. Now, what is the fact here? The fact is that many new moms, up to 80% of them, in fact, in the days after childbirth, tend to feel stressed, overwhelmed, and sad. That's the reality, right? So it's not always so cheerful and blissful. Of course, are they happy to welcome their new one, their little baby? Yes, they are. But sometimes hormones and emotions tends to be at play here, and this is actually a phase in the postpartum called baby blues, right? And this comes with its own symptoms such as decreased appetite, irritability, and anxiety. So of course, if you have a new mom that is feeling the baby blues, be graceful, right? Be understanding, be supportive, because it's not always so very easy for them. It's not the happiest of times. Yes, they are cheerful and excited in their hearts to welcome their baby, but then this tends to be at play because it's not just a matter of the feelings, right? The mother's body has gone through something, very, I don't want to say traumatic, but let's quote unquote, you understand what I'm saying, guys, right? So, but these baby blues symptoms, they tend to go away on their own. I think 2 weeks postpartum, yes, they tend to decrease and just disappear. Now, I'm going to be honest, but in cases where these symptoms that I just talked about, baby blues symptoms, don't go away after 2 weeks, it's very important that as a mother, you must consult your doctor. You must talk to someone, because it's possible that it has gone into the phase of postpartum depression. And of course, we live in a new world where we know that this information is widely spread that postpartum depression is real. It affects a lot of mothers, and quite unfortunately, so many mothers can't even speak out. Some of them might not even be aware that this is what they're going through, right? Because I would say that not a lot of people have the knowledge about what postpartum depression is, the symptoms, or what they're feeling. So sometimes they might even be guilty, they might feel guilty, right? That, oh, they're not bonding with their little one, or they're not giving their little one enough attention, or they're unable to even breastfeed, because yes, that might be some of the symptoms of postpartum depression, right? Unable to bond with your new one, or detachment, right? So if after 2 weeks the symptoms of baby blues do not get better, now this is very, very serious, guys. You must talk to your doctor, speak to someone, because I feel like postpartum depression, that topic alone is not something that is touched, right? It's not really talked about enough. So most mothers might not even be aware that this is how they feel, or this is what's happening. So they might just be experiencing the symptoms of detachment from their little baby, unable to bond, and not really having the interest to breastfeed, right? This may be as a result of postpartum depression and anxiety. So my lovelies, in conclusion to this point, being a new mother is not always blissful and cheerful at first, right? Because it's a combination of a lot of things: lack of sleep, adjusting to becoming a parent, and just generally feeling moody sometimes. So hormonal shifts, these are factors that sometimes make new mothers feel out of it. But then trust me, it gets better. After a couple of days, weeks, you'll feel better, and you'll be able to bond with your new one, and it's all gonna be smooth riding and smooth sailing from there on. All right, let's look at the next point. Number 4 myth: you should only eat plain food while breastfeeding. Nothing extravagant as a mother. Guys, I can tell you that this is not true. What is the fact here is that every new mom, every mother needs all the nutritional benefits and healthy meals after delivery. Because why? We've lost a lot. Let me say, we've lost virtue. I'm kidding, guys, but imagine being a new mom. If you've been to the hospital with a mother after delivery, you see the amount of blood they lose, the strength that they have to use to scream and push. Come on now, that's a lot. Giving birth alone is a lot. Labor is a lot. So you can't come and tell your mother to, after giving birth, they're back home, they should come and take plain pap. Or you want to give them, what's this thing? Just give them agidi, and you tell them, okay, just take agidi and pepper soup. No. Every new mom, every mother in the days after delivery, during the breastfeeding phase, needs healthy meals, nutritional meals, to, aside from just boosting their immunity, they need the strength. Because my sisters, breastfeeding is gonna take virtue from you. Oh yes, I said it, I experienced it. Guys, you needed to see me when I was breastfeeding. I was eating like a thief. No, I'm not. This one is not. I'm not saying that you guys are gonna eat like that now. No, but I didn't know that it's had something to do with breastfeeding. That's what I'm talking about. That I didn't have the knowledge at the time. So because I've experienced it, I'm here to tell you that, please, in as much as you need nutritional meals, healthy meals, you need to eat very well, because you need the strength. Because yes, breastfeeding will take virtue from you, it takes strength, it will take your energy, it's exhausting. You need to be very cautious, because that's what made me gain weight. I'm not going to lie, because I was eating like a thief. I didn't know why I was hungry. It was like there was a hole in my stomach. I kept putting food, and I just kept getting hungry because my baby would suck me dry, guys. So as a new mom, you must eat healthy meals, not plain meals. Eat healthy meals, fruits, and stay hydrated at all times while you're breastfeeding. It is very, very important for you as a mom, and your baby will benefit in extension. Okay? All right. Breastfeeding makes your breast saggy. This particular myth, I am happy to demystify. Please, people of God, leave breastfeeding alone. Breastfeeding is not to blame for saggy boobs. Well, I don't really blame people, Sha, because I think it's lack of knowledge and the misconception surrounding breastfeeding that makes people to think that, oh yes, breastfeeding is the culprit when it comes to saggy boobs for women or ladies that have saggy boobs. But I'm here to tell you what the actual fact is. So research shows that hormonal and weight fluctuations during pregnancy are the main causes of breast change. Yes, and also aging and your family genetics has a big role to play. So yes, when next you see a beautiful woman with saggy boobs, don't just go and start saying and start body shaming her. Like when I see things like that on social media, I just feel very sad. Like why would you do that? And people think, oh yes, this person must have had like 4 or 5 kids. That's why she has saggy boobs. Why does she have saggy boobs? What is your business if she has saggy boobs? Why are you body shaming a woman? And even other women that do it, it's even more shameful because you're a woman. You shouldn't do that, right? Every woman will eventually have saggy boobs after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kids, and then they have aged, right? So it says that aging and family genetics has a huge role to also play when it comes to saggy boobs and breast changes. So you will not just wake up one day after 1 kid, oh, your boobs are falling. Yes, they will fall, my darlings, but that's when your body ages, right? And of course, if it's in your family genetics that even as a young lady, you see that some members of your family already have saggy boobs, then what do you expect, right, from that particular person? Don't just go, body shaming people and saying all that. So please leave breastfeeding alone, people of God. It is not to blame when it comes to saggy boobs. You have been educated. Now, what's the next one we should crack, guys? Is that the size of your breast matters when it comes to breastfeeding. Now, I love this particular one because it also applied to me. During my pregnancy journey, I had this fear too because I'm not one of those women that is blessed with, a little extra something in the front, if you know what I'm talking about. So I was legit worried that, okay, and of course the size of my nipple too was not, what I thought it would be. I didn't think it would be ideal for breastfeeding. So I legit had that fear. But then my experience taught me that this is completely not true. And from research, it shows that your breast size has nothing to do with your ability to produce more milk. So there are some people that come up with the myth and say things like, oh, women with smaller breasts, they tend to lactate more. Those with larger breasts, they produce little milk. That is not true. From research, from science, it says that's not true. It doesn't apply to all women, right? And even your nipple size, it doesn't apply to the fact that, oh, you breastfeed your baby more and that. But yes, I do agree that the nipple, your type of nipple can impact how your baby latches. Like for women that have inverted nipples, if you know what I'm talking about as an experienced mom, you know that sometimes it might be a challenge for women like that. But there have been, things that women can do to stimulate the nipple, inverted nipples, right? You can massage, there are certain things. And also for women that have those types of nipples, you could use, you could go with the method of breast pump, right? So what I'm trying to say in essence is that your breast size, in fact, has nothing to do with the fact that, oh, you're going to produce more milk than the other person. No, it doesn't. It's a complete myth. So don't be afraid, feel free. As a matter of fact, your hormones would, as new moms, you already know that, or as moms generally, when you are pregnant, your breast size tends to even be ×2. It enlarges. Not to think of when you are now breastfeeding, right? It completely protrudes and it's just out there. So your size doesn't matter when it comes to breastfeeding. Okay, so don't be scared. The next myth is that formula is as good as breast milk. Now, what does this mean? It means that they are trying to put formula and breast milk on the same level, but that is in fact just a myth. Now, what is the fact? Is that your milk is custom made for your baby through every stage of development. I'm talking through the newborn stage, the infant stage, toddler stage even, right? As a mom, you must know that your breast milk is packed with a lot of nutrients, a lot of antibodies, antiviruses, and anti-allergens that helps your baby fight illnesses, viruses, and whatnot. So yes, your breast milk is so important. I wouldn't say it's as good as the formula. It's okay to feed your baby formula, but trust me, you cannot compare the natural thing that God gave you for your child to what was man-made, right? Breast milk is also easier to digest and it has more vitamins and minerals than formula. An added plus, it's free, is fresh, and is safe for your little one to breastfeed anytime and anywhere. The last and the final myth for today is that breastfeeding will prevent you from getting pregnant. That means breast milk is a form of contraception. Ladies, it will shock you when you carry belly for the next one when your first baby is just 9 or 6 months old. Guys, now here's the fact, ladies. While breastfeeding does in fact impact your fertility and ovulation, it is not a guaranteed form of contraception or prevention against pregnancy. So my darlings, it's gonna shock you when you carry belly again when your first baby is just 6 or 4 months old. So you have to be extremely careful. And one thing I must add is that every woman's body is not the same. For some, yes, it works. I've heard a story of a woman that actually used breastfeeding to prevent pregnancy, right, as a form of contraception. It did work for her. But there's also someone else that she thought that, oh, okay, yeah, this is something I've heard, so it must be true, right? And guess what? When her first baby was just 6 months old, she took him again for the second one. And mind you, it's not wrong, right? But she wasn't ready at the time. She wasn't in that headspace to carry a new baby. Imagine me having a little one of 6 months and then you're already pregnant. She was really distraught, and it affected her mentally. And this also impacted her relationship with her first baby, because now, it made breastfeeding harder for her, right? You get what I'm saying? So please, you have to be careful. Every woman's body is not the same. So you must do your research. You must seek help or ask a doctor. Consult someone and find out, make your findings before you start to rely on breastfeeding and say, okay, I don't want to do the normal one that they put here or the insert. Let me just use breastfeeding as a form of then to enter. Do you get what I'm saying, guys? Yes. So that's all for today. There's so much more to talk about, but I don't want to, make this video too long. And I really hope that you've enjoyed my talk show today. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I hope you come back, because for our very next topic, it's going to be something very juicy, something very interesting. And your eyes, I'm going to keep them glued to the screen. I promise you that. Thank you for watching. It's been Essie Talks. Bye.